This is News 12 New Jersey.
Welcome back. And now here's a question for all the parents out there. Have you started to save for college? I don't know about you, but the thought alone makes me sweat. It's a good rule of thumb. Start early, save often. Joining us this week to talk college saving strategy is Bob Vandenbergh, Chief Operating Officer of Oak Ridge-based Lakeland Bank. Thank you so much for being on the show this week.
Thank you, Eric. It's my pleasure.
All right, we've got plenty to talk about, and as I said, you know, this is enough to really stress you out and make a parent anxious of thinking about saving for college. So let's get right to it, because we have some pretty startling stats out there of what college costs today. The average for a four-year public college in tuition and fees for full-time out-of-state students, $12,526. That's according to the College Board. For private colleges, an average of $28,500 per year in tuition and fees. So my question to you, Bob, is we've heard some pretty scary predictions about where these costs are going to go. What have you heard?
Well, we've heard very similar things. Obviously, there's increases that are coming out, general inflationary increases, and I think costs overall are rising. So it's pretty reasonable to expect that college costs will be six figures down the road for our children and our grandchildren. So that's things we need to plan for.
Yeah, a lot more visits to the cardiologist, I guess. All right, let's talk strategy right now. The first thing that you do want to know is you have to know the cost. As you're preparing or starting to save, you need to get a good idea of what that college is going to cost you.
Absolutely, and I think it's important to understand the student themselves. Some students are going to need to have some of the foundation through a community college that will have a different cost structure than you're going to have for someone going directly to a four-year school. Other students may be go to specialized schools or do something in-state or out-of-state. So obviously there's a full range of possibilities for the student, and those full range of possibilities result in different costs.
Popular topic, the 529 plan. This is a valuable tool for people who want to save, and it's not just for parents, this is for grandparents too.
Absolutely. I'm a grandparent, and I have actually two accounts for a 17-year-old granddaughter and an 11-year-old grandson. And we started them very early. There's two basic plans. One is a prepaid plan, which allows you to put money in up front, pretty much guarantee what the college education is going to cost you. One of the challenges with that is obviously it's a large expenditure up front and it's difficult for many people to do. The more traditional 529 plan is a saving type vehicle. Best done actually with a periodic payment coming up, so you get the advantages of dollar cost averaging. And most of those plans are managed by administrators who will dictate the investments within the plan based on the age of the prospective student.
And there are tax advantages also with some of the plans.
Absolutely, there's tax advantage. This is going to move forward. The earnings are tax deferred as long as they're used for qualified educational expenses. They'll include tuition, books, room and board, and in some cases other types of ancillary costs.
And there are so many 529 plans out there right now. We don't even want to think about getting into which ones are the better ones and which ones to steer clear of. But right now, actually, let's move on. Investment accounts. What options are there out there for parents also who want to think about putting some money away, maybe outside of a 529?
There are a number of people that prefer to actually self-direct the investment, and those can be done through mutual funds. In cases like that, they require a little bit more active management by the parent or the grandparent, whoever is controlling the account, keeping an eye on the age of the student and when the needs are going to be.
CDs, certificates of deposit.
CDs are probably one of your most conservative approaches, FDIC insured up to the limits. A lower interest rate, so a lower earnings, but probably a good component to put into the overall mix of how you're going to finance.
And something, of course, that we would be remiss not to mention, loans, federal loans, we have private loans. We need to talk about these because how many kids go to college these days without some sort of loan or some sort of aid?
Well, I think some sort of aid is really to the forefront for virtually all students. There's pluses and minuses to that. Obviously, you want to do it in a balanced approach so you don't come out with too much debt. But there are a number of federal programs. Some are based on need. Others look a little bit at the credit side. The private loan arena typically is a little bit more focused on the credit capacity. You probably have more of a need for a financial cosigner, such as a parent or a grandparent, to do that. So there's a lot of different options, but one benefit of the private over the federal is the federal has certain limitations based on the grade of the student. Freshman receives less than a senior. There's a little bit more flexibility in the private plan. So we like to tell people, take a mix of all of the components, look at them, see what best fits the needs of your student.
All right, home equity line of credit. Now, this is something that was much more plentiful a few years back. Harder to come by these days.
Absolutely. We're seeing a number of people do still have some equity in their home. They like the availability of a home equity line of credit. They use the money as it's needed. So the interest carried tends to be a little bit less because you're only spending the money as you need it, whereas some of the other loans, you're starting the interest accrual right from day one.
And of course, lastly, scholarships.
Scholarships are a great thing. I would encourage every student, every parent of a student to go onto the website, look for a number of scholarships. Local organizations provide them based on need, even based on types of careers that the student is pursuing.
All right, Bob, thanks. We're going to have to leave it right there. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
And for the advice. Great to see you.
I appreciate the opportunity.
And if you have any questions or comments about anything in today's interview, send them to me at itsyourmoney@news12.com. We'll be right back. Right after this.
Thank you.